Hello, my name is Eva. Today, my name is on the side of buildings. It is on the cover of magazines. I live in a house that I dreamed of, and then I built from the ground up. I am, by every definition of the word, a success. But I was not raised to be a success. I was not raised to be anything at all. I was raised to be a quiet, practical, and useful part of my parents' perfect, joyless machine. My life is beautiful now, but it was built on a foundation of absolute rejection. Before we move forward, show a little love. Please take a second to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment where in the world you're listening from. I love seeing how far my stories travel. My childhood home was not a home. It was a showroom. My parents, Mark and Cynthia, ran a very respectable and very boring kitchen and bath remodeling company. Their world was small, beige, and expensive. They believed in hard work, practical choices, and what the neighbors thought. They did not believe in joy. They did not believe in passion. And they especially did not believe in me. I was their dreamer. And to them, dreamer was a dirty word. It was a word that meant lazy. It meant failure. My older brother, Greg, was the heir. He was just like them. He was practical. He was boring. He was going to take over the family business. He was the son who would never leave, and they praised him for it. I was the other one. The artist. I loved to paint. I loved to write. I loved to get lost in worlds that were not beige and gray. My mother called it Eva's little fantasy life. My father called it a pointless waste of time. Their words were like bricks they used to build a wall around me. You cannot paint a roof over your head, Eva, my father would say every single night at the dinner table. Writers starve, Eva. Artists are broke. Is that what you want to be? A broken, starving artist? They were not just unsupportive. They were actively anti-supportive. They were terrified that my dreams, my fantasies, would reflect badly on them. What would the neighbors think if their daughter was a starving artist instead of a sensible bookkeeper? My mother would throw out my sketchbooks. "You are too old for this, Eva," she would say, her voice cold. "It is time to grow up." My father would punish me for reading novels by making me file invoices at their store, a dusty, silent place where I felt my soul just shrivel up. I was a caged bird, and they were angry that I even knew how to sing. But they did not know my secret. I was not just a dreamer. I was a planner. While I was working as a bookkeeper for them, for my own good, I was secretly, carefully, skimming a tiny bit of my own paycheck. Not much, just $20 a week. I was hiding it in an old, hollowed-out book. For 2 years I saved. I saved for my escape. I was not just going to dream. I was going to leave. I was going to build a life so far away from their beige-gray world that they would never be able to touch me again. I was just waiting. I was waiting for the day I turned 18, the day they could not legally stop me. My 18th birthday was a cold, rainy Tuesday. I did not expect a party. I did not expect gifts. What I got was an execution. My mother made her dry, practical pot roast. My father opened a cheap bottle of wine. My brother Greg stared at his phone. It was a family dinner, a command performance. "Well, Eva," my father said after we had finished eating. He did not say happy birthday, he cleared his throat. "You are an adult now, 18. The free ride is over. It is time for you to become a productive member of society." My mother smiled. It was a thin, cold, satisfied smile. "Your father and I have your gift, Eva," she said. She slid a folder across the table. It was not a birthday card. It was an application. "What is this?" I whispered. "That," my father said, "is your future. We enrolled you in the local community college. You start next month for an accounting degree, and your gift is a full-time job as a bookkeeper at our firm with a small raise. You will live here, of course, and you will pay us rent. Your adult life starts tomorrow." I stared at the folder. Accounting, bookkeeping, paying them rent. To live in my own childhood bedroom. This was not a gift. This was a life sentence. This was the cage being locked forever. "No," I said. The room went silent. "What? What did you say?" my father asked. His voice was quiet, dangerous. "No," I said again. I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was strong. "Thank you for the offer. But I am not going to be your bookkeeper, and I am not going to community college for accounting. I am moving to the city. I am going to be an artist." My mother actually laughed. A short, ugly barking sound. "You are what?" Do not be ridiculous, Eva. You are not moving anywhere. You have no money. You have no job. You have no sense. You are a child. I am 18, I said. I am an adult. You just said so. And I am leaving. I have money. I have been saving. I'm leaving on Friday. My father's face. It turned a dark, blotchy red. He did not yell. He looked at me. He looked at me with a cold, pure disgust. You are a fool, he whispered. You are an arrogant, ungrateful, stupid little fool. You think you can survive out there? In the real world? You with your head full of paint and poems? I can, I said. Fine, he said. He stood up. Fine. You want to be an adult? You want to survive on your own? Let's see you do it. He walked to the front door. He opened it. The cold, rainy night air filled the warm room. Go, he said. What? I whispered. Go, he said again, his voice like ice. You are not leaving on Friday. You are leaving now. You are an adult. You are on your own. Go. Survive. Mark, do not be... My mother started, but he cut her off. She made her choice, Cynthia. She thinks she is better than us. She thinks she is too good for this family. Let her go. Let her see what the real world is. You will come crawling back here in 6 weeks, Ava, begging for your job, begging for forgiveness. You will not survive without us. I looked at my mother. She was not fighting for me. She was not protecting me. She was adjusting her sweater. She looked annoyed. I was ruining her perfect practical dinner. Fine, I said. I ran to my room. My secret money was in my backpack. I grabbed it. I grabbed my jacket. When I came back, my mother was standing at the door holding a black trash bag. She had packed for me a few pairs of jeans, a few shirts, my toothbrush. You will not need your other things, she said. Her voice was flat. They will just weigh you down. I walked out the front door. I had my backpack with my money, and I had a trash bag full of clothes. It was my 18th birthday. It was raining, and my parents, my mother and my father, they stood in the doorway. They watched me. And then my father did it. He closed the door. I heard the lock click, the final metallic sound. I was 18 years old. I was homeless. And I was, for the first time in my life, completely, terrifyingly on my own. I stood on that wet sidewalk for a long time. I was in shock. I could not breathe. I was an adult. I was on my own. But I was also a kid. I was 18. I had a trash bag. I had about $2,000 in my backpack, and I had nowhere to go. I did not go back. I did not knock. I started walking. I walked to the bus station. I bought a one-way ticket to the city. It was a 4-hour ride. I sat in the back of the bus, wet and cold, holding my trash bag. I did not cry. I could not. I was just empty. The city was a loud, angry, concrete monster. My $2,000, which had felt like a fortune, evaporated. It was gone in 2 days. A deposit on a tiny, terrible apartment. A shoebox with a hot plate and a window that looked at a brick wall. And the rent was due in 3 weeks. I was not an artist. I was not a dreamer. I was a survivor. My parents had been right about that. This was about survival. I got a job, not as an artist, not as a writer. I got a job as a waitress at a 24-hour diner, the graveyard shift. From 10 at night until 6 in the morning, my life became a blur of exhaustion. I would work all night, my feet aching, my back screaming. I would serve coffee to drunk, angry, lonely people. I would scrub grease off the grill. I would go home at 6:30 in the morning, just as the sun was coming up. My little room would be light. I would tape black garbage bags over the window. I would sleep until 3. I would wake up, eat a bowl of instant noodles, and read. I could not afford to paint, but I could afford a library card. It was free. I did not read novels. I read textbooks. I sat in my little shoebox and I read about architecture. I read about design. I read about real estate. I did not know why. I loved the idea of houses. I loved the idea of a home, a place that was safe, a place that was beautiful, a place that was not a beige, cold showroom. I started to sketch. Not paintings. I sketched floor plans on the back of old diner receipts. I redesigned my tiny apartment. I redesigned the diner. I was building a new dream, not a fantasy, a foundation. I was so lonely. The loneliness was a physical ache. It was a cold, heavy stone in my stomach. The first Christmas, that was the low point. That was the day I almost broke. I was working. Of course I was working. The diner was the only place open on Christmas Eve. It was me and a cook named Sal. It was snowing outside. It was quiet. At midnight, a family came in. A mom, a dad, and a daughter about my age. They were laughing. They had been to a party. They were happy. They ordered hot chocolate. I brought them their drinks. They smiled at me. The mother, she looked at me with my dirty apron and my tired eyes. And she looked at me with pity. "Merry Christmas, dear," she said. I just nodded. I went back behind the counter. I watched them. They were a real family. They were warm. I felt a crack in my foundation. I felt the tears coming. I ran to the back, to the cold, wet supply closet, and I sobbed. I leaned against a giant can of pickles and I broke. I was so alone. I was so tired. I had failed. My father was right. I had not survived. I wanted to call them. I wanted to beg for forgiveness. I wanted to go home. I wanted to be a bookkeeper. I wanted to not be alone. I sat there on the cold, dirty floor for a long time. The anger was gone. I was just empty. Then I thought about my father's face, the way he had looked at me, with such disgust. I thought about my mother, handing me that trash bag, and the emptiness. It filled up again. It filled up with a new feeling, a cold, hard, quiet feeling. It was not rage. It was resolve. I was not going to be their broken, starving artist. I was not going to be their failed, sad story. I would not give them the satisfaction. I stood up. I wiped my face. I walked back out. I poured that happy family more coffee. And I survived. I was not just a survivor. I was a builder. I worked at that diner for 2 more years. Every single dollar I saved went into a new fund. Not an escape fund, a build fund. I took online classes at the community college. Not in accounting, in drafting, in architectural design, in real estate. I got my license. The day I passed my real estate exam, I quit the diner. I walked in, I handed Sal my apron, and I walked out. I got a new job, an unpaid internship, at a small, struggling but creative real estate firm. The owner was a man named Mr. Elias. He was old, tough, and he saw something in me. He saw my sketches. He saw my hunger. "You have an eye, kid," he said. "You do not just see a house. You see a home." I worked for him for free, for a whole year. I still worked at night, at a different, better restaurant. But during the day, I was an apprentice. I learned the business. I learned how to find the broken houses, the ones no one wanted, the ones my parents would have hated, the ones with no potential. I learned how to see the foundation. Mr. Elias gave me my first chance. A small, ruined, burned-out house in a bad neighborhood. "It is a total loss," he said. "The firm will not touch it, but if you want it, I will co-sign the loan. You do the work. We split the profit." I took it. For 6 months, I did not sleep. I was the designer. I was the general contractor. I hired the crew. I was there in a hard hat with my own toolbox every single day. I tore down walls. I built new ones. I did not just flip it. I healed it. I turned that broken, ugly, unwanted house into a beautiful, warm, secure home. I redesigned the floor plan. I added big windows. I put in a garden. We sold it in 1 day. We made a huge profit. I took my share. I did not buy a new car. I did not buy new clothes. I bought 2 more broken houses. That was the beginning. That was 10 years ago. Today, my name is not just Eva. It is Aurora Homes. That is my company, Aurora, the dawn. A new day. My company is one of the biggest, most successful development firms in the state. I do not just flip houses. I buy entire blocks. I find the most forgotten, unloved, broken parts of the city, and I bring them back to life. I do not build cold glass towers. I build homes. I build communities. My brand is building the future. My brand is everyone deserves a foundation. And last year, I finished my masterpiece. My own home. I did not buy it. I built it. From the ground up. It is not a house. It is a mansion. It is a sprawling, beautiful, warm building made of stone and wood and glass. It is tucked away in the hills, surrounded by trees. It has a library with a rolling ladder. It has a huge, warm kitchen that is always full of food. It has an art studio with a window that looks out over the entire city. It is my fortress. It is my sanctuary. It is the home I never had. It is the place I am finally, completely safe. The ghosts came back. Of course they did. I did not contact them. They found me. I was on the cover of Architectural Digest. The magazine had done a huge, beautiful 10-page story on my mansion, the house that Eva built, from homeless to mogul. The story was my brand. It was the story of the girl who had survived on her own. It did not name my parents, but it told the truth. It told the story of my 18th birthday. It told the story of the diner. 2 days after the magazine hit the stands, my phone rang. A number I did not know, from my old hometown. "Hello," I said. "Eva," a voice whispered. A voice I had not heard in over a decade. It was my mother. "Eva, honey, it is Mom. We saw the article. Oh, Eva, we are so proud. We are so proud." I did not speak. "Honey," she said, and her voice broke into a fake, practiced sob. We are in trouble. We are losing the house. The business is gone. Your father, he is sick. He is very sick. We have nowhere to go. Please, Eva, we need to see you. We are your family." I was not cold. I was not angry. I was just curious. I was a scientist. They were a strange insect I had not seen in a long time. "Where are you?" I asked. We are in the city," she whispered. "We are at a bus station. I sent a car. Not my car, a car service. I told them to bring my family to my house. I waited for them. I did not wait in the kitchen. I waited in my library. I stood by the window. I watched them get out of the car. They were old. My father was not sick. He was just a defeated old man. My mother was thin, and her hair was a bad, cheap color. They looked small. They looked pathetic. They walked into my home. Their mouths fell open. They looked at the high ceilings. They looked at the art on my walls. They looked at the solid wood floors. Their eyes, they were not sad. They were greedy. "Eva," my mother whispered, This is incredible. You did this." "Our daughter." "Why are you here?" I asked. "Eva," my father said, we made a mistake. We were hard on you. But we did it because we loved you. We made you strong. We are losing the house." My mother cut him off, the tears starting. "We are losing everything. We have nowhere to go. We are going to be homeless. But this house..." "Your house? It is so big, Eva. It is a mansion. It is too big for just one person. You have so many rooms. You have to let us move in. Just for a little while. Just one wing. We are your family. We are your parents. You cannot let us be homeless." I looked at them. They were not sorry. They were not ashamed. They were demanding. They were standing in the beautiful, safe, warm home I had built, and they were demanding a piece of it. They believed they were entitled to it. I smiled. A small, quiet, sad smile. "You are right," I said. "This is a big house. I built it for my family." My mother's face lit up with relief. "Oh, Eva, thank you. But you," I said, "are not my family." My family is the team at my office. My family is Mr. Elias, who gave me my first chance. My family is every person who ever bought one of my homes. You are just the people who kicked me out on my 18th birthday." "Eva, no," my father whispered. "Do you remember what you said to me?" I asked him. "You said I would not survive. You said I would come crawling back. You said I would fail. You did not make me strong. You made me angry. You were not a foundation. You were the thing I had to build around." I walked them to the door, my beautiful solid oak door. "You were right, Dad," I said. "That girl, the one you kicked out in the rain, she did not survive, I did. But I am not your daughter. I am a stranger, and you are trespassing. You are throwing us out?" my mother cried. "Into the street? Your own parents?" I looked at her, and I gave her the same cold, flat look she had given me all those years ago. "I am not throwing you out," I said. "You are an adult. You are on your own. Go, survive." I opened the door. They just stood there, broken, beaten. They were the ones who looked like ghosts now. I watched them walk down my long driveway. They did not look back. I closed the door. I heard the lock click, a solid, final, beautiful sound. I was not a guest. I was not a prisoner. I was the landlord, and I was finally home.